Hello, teacher. I'm going to continue the reading the book.
Chapter 8 1,000 Songs in Your Pocket. By 2000, Apple was making a lot of money. In 2001, the company opened its own shops in several American cities. Steve put a lot of thought into the design of these shops, and they brought in huge numbers of new customers. More shops were planned for cities around the world.
In the 1200, Apple was making a lot of money in 12, but the company opened our shop in rival American city. Steve bought a lot of fun into the scene. The shop and they drawn the whole numbers of few customers. More shops were planning for the city around the world.
Steve Jobs loved music, Bob Dylan, the Beatles, and many more, and he knew that people were starting to listen to music as MP3s. He wanted Apple's computers to share in this new MP3 technology. In 2001, the company introduced iTunes, a great piece of software that helped you to organize your digital music into playlists for your MP3 player. But Steve soon realized that he hated all the MP3 players that you could buy at the time. They were difficult to use and only held about 16 songs. He decided that Apple should create something better.
Steve Jobs loved music, Bob Dylan, the Beatles, and many more, and he knew the poor people were starting to listen to music in MP3s. He wanted Apple's computer to share in the new MP3 technology. In the 2001, the company introduced iTunes, a great piece of software that helped you organize your digital music into the playlist for your MP3 player. But Stevenson realized they hated on the end. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? Bueno, all the MP3 players that they use call, but all the time they were difficult to use and only held about 86 sounds. He decided Apple should create something better.
He got help from a small company called Portal Player, and there were lots of ideas from people at Apple, including Jonathan Ive and Steve himself. Their product, the iPod, could hold 1,000 songs, but fitted easily inside your pocket. We knew how cool it was, remembered Steve, because we knew how badly we wanted one ourselves.
They got some help from a small company called Portal Player, and they were lots of money from people, including Jonathan Ive and Steve himself. The the iPod could hold thousands sound the 50 AC eyes to your pocket. You knew now called it was remember Steve because and you knew now mobile order of your service.
It took the company less than a year to design and produce the iPod. When it first went on sale, however, reporters did not like it. No one will buy it, they said. It's much too expensive. But they were wrong. Soon, young people all around the world were buying iPods. Apple's brightly coloured iPod adverts were everywhere.
It took the company less than a year to sell and produce an iPod when it first went on sale. However, reporters did not like it. No one will buy it. They said it's much too expensive, but they were wrong. Some young people around the world were buying iPods, Apple running color iPod everywhere, anywhere.
The success didn't stop there. The company was now working hard on a new idea, an idea that changed the world of music forever. In 2002, the music industry was in big trouble. Young people could now share MP3s on music websites for free. Sales of CDs were falling fast. If people stopped paying for music, the music companies would go out of business. They were very worried.
The success did stop here. The company was now working hard on a new idea, and that changed the world of music forever. In 22, the music industry was a big trouble. You people could now share MP3 as music website for free, so the CD were flying fast. If people stopped playing for music, the music companies would go out of business. They were very rare.
Music companies needed an online shop for their music, but unfortunately the big companies didn't want to work together. There were two different websites, each with only half the songs that people were interested in. And there was another problem. You had to pay every month. If you stopped paying, you lost all the songs that you had already bought. The websites were very unpopular, and people continued to use the free MP3 sharing websites.
The music composers needed the knowledge of before the music for until the big companies did want to work together. There were two different websites, each only have the sound the people were interested in, and here was another problem. You had to pay every month if you stopped paying in loss on the song that you hear already there on the website here very unpopular. The people continue to use the MP3 sharing
For
website.
Apple, free music was useful because it made the iPod more attractive. But Steve knew that free MP3s were destroying the music industry. He also felt strongly that stealing other people's creative products was wrong. He thought that most people in the world were honest. They would pay for their music if they could. The problem at the moment was that they had too many excuses to be dishonest. He decided that it was time for an iTunes shop.
For Apple, free music was useful because it made the iPod more attractive, but Steve knew what the free MP3s was destroying the music industry. He also felt strongly that destroying other people's creative products was wrong, but that most people in the world were honest and would pay their music in the code. The problem at the moment was they had too many excuses to be dishonest. I decided what the was time war in the iTunes shop.
Steve started talking to the 5 biggest music companies about his ideas for this shop. The music had to be cheap, 99 cents for a song, so that customers didn't want to steal anymore. They had to be able to buy one song at a time, not all the songs from a CD. And they had to be able to keep those songs forever.
Steve started talking to the 5 biggest music companies about the idea for this shop. The music have the cheap and the 99 cents for a song, so that customers didn't want to steal anymore. They had able to buy a song on the time, not all the song from the CD, and they had to be able to cover the song forever.
At first, many of the music companies said no, but Steve was very determined. Slowly, the music companies started to change their minds. They loved Apple's simple and attractive software. But before a website could sell music, it often needed agreement from the musicians too. Steve met with lots of famous singers and bands, such as Bob Dylan, U2, and Mick Jagger, and talked about Apple's fantastic idea. Finally, enough people agreed to sell their music at his shop.
At first, many
In 2000,
For many, what music companies said no, but Steve was very determined. Suddenly, the music companies started to change their minds. They loved Apple's simple and attractive software, but before a website called Sun Music, it all after needed agreement from the music deal. Steven met with lots of famous singles and bands such as Bob Dylan, U2, U2, and Mike Jagger and talked about Apple's fantastic idea. Finally, enough people agreed to sell their music at this shop.
2003, the iTunes shop opened. It already had 200,000 songs, and that number was growing every day. Apple expected to sell 1 million songs in the first 6 months. Instead, it sold 1 million songs in the first 6 days. In 2010, on Steve Jobs' 55th birthday, the iTunes shop sold its 10 billionth song. The lucky buyer, grandfather Louis Salsa, got a phone call from Steve Jobs to say that he'd won a $10,000 iTunes gift card.
In the 203, the iTunes shop opened already, and 200,000 songs on the numbers were running every day. Apple expected to sell 1 million songs in the first 6 months. Inspiring I sold 1 million songs in the first 6 days in the 2010 and Steve Jobs' 55th birthday. The iTunes shop sold its 10 billion song. The lucky bugger grandfather Lawrence Salzer got a phone call from the Steve Jobs to say that he won a 10,000 tune gift card. Thank you, teacher, for listening for me. And see the next chapter 9. Thank you. Goodbye.